So there are people in the house. They're probably going to hear me doing this, but this is just what I do. There's a thing in the middle of... If the picture's not very good, you'll just have to work around it. I can't afford a new camera. Life is kicking my fucking ass at the moment. Life is... I can't help but feel that sometimes if it gives you something amazing on one half of the thing, it kind of fucks you in the ass on the other side. So if something is really good and other stuff's going really well, do I want a happy medium? Do I want something that's amazing and something that's terrible all the time? The universe is a very funny place, and sometimes if you ask it a question, it delivers what you're asking for, and then the ramifications of that spill out all over the place. I asked for some questions because I just felt it like doing a waffly video. There are a few that specifically come up as stuff that I really kind of ought to try and talk about a little bit. Machinima's new TF show. Now, loads of you have put Machinima's new TF show. One of the places that I'm mildly sort of concerned to talk about Machinima's new TF show is we actually talked about Machinima's new TF show on the podcast, which isn't going to be up until Friday, because that's the 1st. And I think that's because of the way Libsyn works. I think it's the way that Libsyn works. I think it's the way that iTunes works. You can do one thing a month, and that's sort of it. And we've done our thing, so we have to wait till Friday. Anyway, by the time I've edited this, who knows if it's going to work. The music software on my computer has stopped working. Nothing's coming out straight this morning. I have been really looking forward to the Machinima cartoon. But there are a few things that concern me a little bit about it. Again, this is why I'm sort of struggling, because we spoke about this on the podcast. The podcast won't come out for a couple of days, so I need to skirt around what we spoke about then, but then that advert thing, the new piece of animation, wasn't out when we spoke about it, and now it is out. It was the day after we recorded it. That's just the law of sod. You can't change it. The art style is beautiful. Optimus Prime really looks like Optimus Prime. Megatron really looks like Megatron. It's not too overly stylised. It's not too comic booky. I must admit, a lot of the time when you see people say it's an IDW version with all the little floops on Megatron's chest and stuff like that, I don't like that. I don't like that overly stylised, really busy, super duper stuff. I quite like it when it's got a bit of... It's kind of G1, but a modern G1. Does that make sense? I think when you can see all workings inside their neck and stuff. I like the idea of it. I get why you're doing it. I understand why people like it. But for me, it's not really where I'm looking at. I just like modern but simple. Because if you want to go modern and not simple, then to me that's the movies. But the problem for me is it too late? Is it too late? Is the whole Machinima cartoon programme too late? Has it happened at the wrong time? See, I spoke about this on the podcast. I'm totally screwing this up. This is everyone else's opinions of it too, and it's just forced me to think about it. So this is what you asked. I asked, you asked. Is it too late? Has it come at the wrong time? Should have this Machinima cartoon been a compliment? Should it have been something that went hand in hand? Should it be a point of sale, for example? To go with Combiner Wars. You're talking about a cartoon which is specifically Combiner Wars. It is about Combiner Wars. And it looks like it's going to cross over with some G1 storytelling, some G1 rhetoric for argument's sake. But is it too late? Is the whole point of doing these cartoons a big toy advert? Is the whole point not that we should become emotionally invested in something that we can purchase from a shop for the betterment of buying toys, for the betterment of having more money, for the betterment of having more toys later on? Because the better a toy line does, the more chance there is of getting another one later on. Have we missed the boat between going from Combiner Wars to Titan Wars when the cartoon from Combiner Wars comes out in August? Was it August 2nd the first one comes out? August 2nd, Combiner Wars will be, 18 months old? Is it 12 months or 18 months old? I think it's going to be about a year and a half, isn't it? Combiner Wars will be not just running out of the steam, but the last glowing embers of Combining Wars are going to be stamped out by the thronging hordes of nerds running their way to shops to go and buy Titan Wars stuff. Yet we are about to create a whole story arc for something that isn't current anymore. We're about to create an entire storyline. We're about to create a beautiful weekly opportunity for everybody to sit down and have a conversation about the story that happened, what's going on, what has happened, what will happen, what do you think's going to happen. We can surmise about the changes that we'd like to see. We can surmise about the things that we'd like to see happen between now and the end of the thing. You can do that beautiful thing where you get to put a camera on and go, "Oh!" about last week's show when something amazing happens, and then you can have, like, on the Facebook page, pages and pages worth of stuff, people talking about something that's just happened as much as they can talk about something that's going to happen. But all of this is going to happen for something that's just run out of steam with its toy line. And I don't understand how they've managed to allow this to happen, if I'm honest, because it just doesn't fit. It would be like rewriting G1 now, which I know is IDW and that Matumti thing. But I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. The timing of it doesn't make any sense. I have to hold off on the cartoon. Let me talk about the cartoon itself for a moment. In amongst all the clanky, jerky, comic book, but not a comic book kind of images that were on there, which were all quite nice. I think Optimus doesn't look quite right. I'm sure by the time the fiction kicks in and you put a name to a face and it's all... the voice and the story and the animation all become one thing, I'm sure it's going to be properly sexy. However, it's failed. Because all the people that I see that have spoken about it have all said the same thing as me. What's this? What have you done? What have you done? How? This isn't very good. We don't like this. Which frightens me, because if this is the bit of the dream, if this is that little bit of glory that's supposed to wet the whistle of all the people that are dying to watch this programme, and it just so happens that it's because it was on the podcast the other day that it's sort of fresh in my mind, so I'm assuming that everything that I'm seeing is fresh in everyone else's mind, and the little snippets just come out. It's fallen on its face, and no one's happy with it. No one's turned around and go, "Wow, that's amazing." No one's turned around and said, "Oh, I think the art style's absolutely magnificent." Everybody, absolutely everybody, has just gone, "Well, I'm not sure about that." And that really worries me, because this is the chance, isn't it? Because I like RID. RID's good fun. RID... it's for children, though, isn't it? And I like that. I want them to keep RID going, because the children need an avenue, because kids turn into grown-ups, and grown-ups turn into nerds with disposable money in their pocket. And the toys, it keeps rolling, doesn't it? You need a new generation. But we're late to the party. It's just late to the party. How can I get excited about Combiner Wars and going out and buying a Starscream from those beautiful photos that are up the other day? How can I get excited about buying a Windblade that looks like what you see on the telly when the toy doesn't really look like what you see on the telly anyway? And by the time it does come out on the telly, you're going to be going back and looking at aftermarket stocks to get hold of stuff. You're going to be looking at eBay. You're going to be looking at conventions, because you're not going to be going to places like Toys R Us and buying the toys that you see off the television to generate the interest, so you can hold the thing in the hand while you're watching the telly, which is kind of how toys sort of work when you buy toys from a cartoon. Because everything that you're going to want, everything that the cartoon is going to generate within your lusty little brain of "have to have plastic in my hand," is all going to be forced into a secondary market situation, and not a primary, let's go and buy it in the shop, let's pre-order it, let's get it in my hand through one of the outlets that Hasbro / Takara want. This is going to make scalpers go crazy. I don't know. It's all a bit weird. I feel a bit conflicted about it. I was properly excited about it when I spoke about it on the podcast. I was really, really looking forward to having something that was for me and my age group. And I don't mean people who are in their 40s, I just mean people who aren't not in their teens. If something's made for people that are under 12, you can appreciate it because it's the part of the franchise that you adore. But I don't think anyone's really going to get into it because it's based too young. But this was going to be our opportunity to be amazing. Now there is one tiny little bit of animation. There's a bit of Optimus spinning with that chain thing and his axe weapon, and if that bit is like what the whole cartoon's going to be, it's going to be great. But I just worry that the one little soup song they've given us, which is going to make us all excited for the future, the one thing that they've given us to really wet our whistle and make us want to make the extra effort of going to see the first one on the second, even though most people are just going to download it or watch it on a third-party program that's going to... Because, you know, how many people are actually going to have the channel that it's broadcast on at the time? Feels like a bit of a fuck up. It feels to me like a bit of a fuck up, which is totally retracting on what I said on the podcast, because on the podcast I said if you don't like it, then this is your last opportunity, and if you just cry about it, then maybe it's time you stopped collecting toy robots and started doing something else. But to be honest with you, I feel like I'm eating my own words, because they've made this beautiful great big unveiling of something that has just really fallen flat on its arse. And that's me saying that. That's Captain Positive. I'm always giving new stuff a try. It annoys me when people just knee-jerk reaction see something and go, don't like it. But the amount of people that are saying that they don't like it, and me understanding why they don't like it, I think it might be a bit of a problem. Beard's itchy.